I'm Ryan Wolf, welcome to my channel, and today we're going to be doing a gear review or a gear comparison. I'm going to give you the information that you need to decide whether it's time for you to upgrade your Fitbit Ionic to a Garmin Fenix 6 Pro. So here's the Fenix 6 Pro and here's the Fitbit Ionic. I've had the Fitbit Ionic for a couple years now. Only recently I've sort of found that the heart rate data and stuff when I'm training is just kind of not quite been there. I've felt that it's just not quite, I don't know, maybe up to the standards that I'm after. I was sick of going for runs and basically, you know, I get like a K into the run, I'm like, oh man, I know that heart rate data is just not even in the vicinity of where it should be. And that's probably the most important metric for me. So I've been doing a bit of research, come to the conclusion that I wanted to give the Fenix series a try. I'm going to keep this pretty simple, so I'm going to focus on basically affordability, the build quality, how easy is it to use, and just basically the all-round. The question you probably have is, A, should I buy this watch? And if you already have a Fitbit Ionic, is it worth spending the extra money for the upgrade? So first off, we'll talk a little bit about the Fitbit Ionic. Now, I bought this Fitbit, I would say about 2 years ago, for some multi-sport event type stuff, but mainly running and cycling. I've mainly done a lot of running with it. And the thing, in the last probably 3-4 months, I've been taking my running a bit more seriously, and the metrics have become more important to me, in particular my heart rate data. And with the Ionic, I've found that for some reason it struggles a bit more with my heart rate. I might get 500 meters or a K into my run and I look down and I realize, like, oh man, like the heart rate data is clearly way off. So it's hard for me to know whether I'm running too fast or I'm running too slow. And this basically prompted me to start looking around to see what else might be out there. Maybe it's time to upgrade my watch. Eventually, from looking around doing a bit of research, what I found, I decided to upgrade to the Fenix 6 Pro. I've had this watch for pretty much a month now, and I thought it'd be important to actually, and useful to people, if I did a bit of a comparison between this and the Fitbit Ionic. So the first off, the thing I'm going to talk about straight away is the look and the build quality. Between the two, there is absolutely no comparison on build quality and look. Now, the Garmin Fenix 6 Pro, it's an absolute beast. It looks like something that a member of an SAS soldier would be wearing. It's rugged, it's made of steel, it's just a beautiful watch. It's a real, I would say it's a man's type of a watch. It's got that kind of feel. Now the Fitbit Ionic, it's actually a lot of a different feel going on here. You've got really what I'd say is kind of a more sleek, slimline type of a watch. It doesn't have that sort of rugged feel to it. It's made of some type of a light sort of metal and plastic screen basically. But I would say with the, even though it doesn't, it's certainly nowhere near as durable, I would say, as the Fenix 6 Pro. It actually, I've had this for a while and I wear it day in, day out, and it doesn't really have any scratches on it, and I do a lot of building, hands-on stuff. Next thing I want to talk about is battery life. Now, what really started to annoy me with the Fitbit Ionic was the battery life. I mean, I was having to charge this thing every probably 3 days, and that's at best. And if you're running and using the GPS for running more, then you're sometimes charging it even more. I think if you put this on GPS mode and just run non-stop for it, I feel like I'd be lucky to finish a 4 or 5 hour run without it completely running out of battery. Now, this is where the Fenix 6 series and the Fenix 6 Pro just excels. The Fenix 6 Pro, just on normal mode, without running any energy saving measures at all, you're going to get 14 days battery life out of this. And that's just crazy. Now, I've found over the first month, now I run pretty much every day, that I've been getting probably say about 10 to 11 days, and that's running every day using the GPS. I have the heart rate monitor going all day, every day. So you're talking about some serious life, and there's other ways. If you change some of the settings, you can get this thing out to some crazy amounts, like 2 months, 3 months. So in terms of battery life, the Fenix 6 Pro, you're going to win that all day long, hands down. And I'm pretty sure that's against virtually any watch in the class. One thing, I've had a few different Fitbits now over the years, and I've found the straps tend to always break. I've got another old Fitbit Surge behind me there, which has currently got a broken strap. That's one thing I've always found with Fitbits. For whatever reason, the rubber on the straps tends to break. I can already tell with the Fenix 6 Pro, and this is the strap that came with the watch, that this is not breaking. I mean, it's only been a month, but this just does not feel like a strap that's going to break. Much more durable. Now, probably one of the biggest, most important factors when it comes to buying a new piece of tech is going to be the price. Now, this is where there is a huge difference. So a Fitbit Ionic is going to set you back, a new one, probably around about 400 New Zealand dollars. Now, the Garmin Fenix 6 Pro is going to set you back more like 1,279 New Zealand dollars. Now, I got this one slightly on special, so you can actually get them cheaper than that, but you know, you're looking at over $1,000, so twice the price. Now, that could be something to really take into account. I would say that the Fenix 6 Pro, this is for someone who really wants to get everything out of their watch. If you're only using your watch for casually going for a run, I'd almost say go for an Ionic. Another thing to note with the difference between the Pro and the Ionic, which I actually didn't realize at first, is that the Ionic has a touch screen and the Fenix series don't. So the Fenix series actually use buttons on the side from which you navigate through all the different screens. Now, at first, this felt really odd and backwards, and I just thought that's kind of not where everything's going. But the reason they've done this is because of the type of screen they've put in. It's extremely wearable. You pretty much can't smash this thing, and I assume that's related to a touchscreen just wouldn't work that way. But once you get the hang of using the buttons, honestly, it's easy, and especially when you're actually doing an activity. I used to find with the Fitbit, you know, you're running along and then like you're trying to swipe the screen and you're trying to press the button, you're trying to press the screen, but your hand's sweaty and it's not working. But with the Fenix 6 Pro, because it's the buttons, you basically just click, click, click. You can do it without even looking to get to the screen you need. And once you get used to it, it's actually brilliant. Another thing to talk about here is weight. Now, weight might not be important to you, but to give you an idea, the Garmin Fenix 6 Pro is significantly heavier than a Fitbit Ionic. Now, if you can get an idea there, I'm not going to talk about specific measurements because you can get those online. I'm going to talk about the feel of it. Now, you can clearly see the Fenix 6 Pro is considerably thicker, and I'm going to tell you it is a lot heavier. When you first put this watch on, you notice the difference. It's kind of like wearing a dive watch, like very heavy compared to the Ionic. Now, maybe the Ionic's a bit of more of a slim light type feel, a lot lighter, and might be easier for you to sleep with. Now, I sleep with my watch. I love all the heart rate metrics and things when you sleep. And to be honest, the Fenix 6 Pro, it doesn't bother me, but it might bother you. So that's something to take into account. Overall, I mean, when I say it's heavy, I mean, hey, it's realistic. It feels like a solid watch on your hand, which is what I like. Sleep tracking has become a really important metric for wearables, and this is one area where I'm going to say the Fitbit actually has it over Garmin. Now, I'm not really sure why, because in terms of sensors, accelerometers and everything, the Garmin Fenix 6 Pro has just as good, if not better, than the Fitbit Ionic, but it must be the software that they use to analyze that data. I've had sometimes with my Garmin where I haven't actually gone to bed, and when I look and it basically said that I went to sleep 2 hours earlier, whereas the Fitbit's very good in that regard. If you look at your sleep data the next day, it's basically exactly right. It will pick up every time you're like, oh yeah, I did get up and toss and turn for a few minutes during the night, and it'll have that, whereas the Garmin just doesn't seem to quite have that. I've found that with the Fitbit compared to the Garmin, in terms of my total sleep, the Garmin basically has me sleeping probably an extra hour and a half every night compared to what my data used to be for the Fitbit, and I know that this was pretty much bang on. So if you're looking for something that's got insanely accurate sleep data, take that into account. The Garmin data is not going to be as good. Now, this is obviously something that they can fix with updates and stuff, and so I assume that might happen. And apparently, from what I've been reading, it has been improving. Now, one of the biggest things that's going to separate these two devices ultimately is features. Now, the amount of features available on the Fenix 6 Pro, it's just crazy. If you went back 5 years, you'd say no way. To start with, the Fenix 6 Pro has a thing called pulse ox, and basically what that does is it measures the amount of oxygen in your blood. Now this is a metric which is becoming more popular in terms of assessing a person's overall health. Now I think it's really cool, and when I bought the watch I was excited to use that, and I did use it at the beginning, but you realize pretty quickly that it's not really that beneficial. As long as you're a healthy person, which I hope I am, I get decent results, and they're always around about the same. So I don't actually use that very often. You can actually set that to run all the time, or just run at night to track what your levels are, but it'll use a lot more battery life, and it's probably just not really necessary. So if you're looking at stats and you're looking at data and you see, hey, I want to get the pulse ox thing, I'd honestly say it's not really worth it, unless if you're an athlete that's basically training at altitude and things. It can measure definitely the oxygen in your blood at different altitudes, which can be really important. But other than that, it's a bit of a gimmick to me. One of the things I love about the Garmin is it's got a barometer built in, which I'm loving. Altitude, it's just got everything. Now another thing the Garmin watch has, which Fitbit doesn't have, is they've got maps. Now the mapping software in here is really quite outstanding. All kinds of different maps. You can do ski maps, just maps of town with streets, a lot there. I mean, crazy amounts, and the screen displays them really well, I feel, considering what it is. A touch screen here might make things easier to navigate, but hey, it's doable. Now if you're a golfer, you're gonna love the Fenix 6 Pro because it has golf maps built into it, all in the watch. So it brings up graphics showing the hole, showing how far you've hit your drive, how far you've got to the hole. The Fitbit doesn't have that. So another thing that's been a huge bugbear for me is connectivity with your computer and these kind of things in order to sort out music and stuff. Now the Fitbit Ionic says that you can basically mount music on it so you can listen to it wirelessly through your wireless headphones while you're running or doing activity. Now, I tried and tried to get this to work using my MacBook Pro, and I could not get it to work. You try to download through the Connect app, but there isn't actually anything for the Ionic. I tried contacting Fitbit through their forums, etc. Never got any reply, and in fact I ran into other people on there saying, hey, have you heard anything about this, because everyone's asking and Fitbit never replies. That was another main reason why I basically gave up on the Fitbit. Now the Garmin, this comes with 32 gigabytes of inbuilt storage. It connects through Wi-Fi to your Spotify. I literally just downloaded a 100-song playlist onto my Spotify, boom, and it just seamlessly, so easily, and it connects to the Bluetooth, anything, speakers and stuff. Like I was just outside in the shed cleaning up, just connected it to my UE boom, and it just works flawlessly. It doesn't really seem to affect the battery life. So for that, I've just got to give massive points to the Garmin. Just the ease of use, connecting with apps that we actually use, not other stupid apps, Connect apps that we don't. Now something else the Garmin does, which the Fitbit sort of touched on but didn't really do, is that there's a lot of training information that you get after you train through the Garmin system. Now if you go for a run, immediately upon finishing that run, on the watch it's going to give you details on how that run affected your fitness. Did it impact your VO2 max? Was it aerobic? Was it non-aerobic? So with any watch, one of the most important things is, what does it look like? I mean, at the end of the day, you're dropping a whole lot of money on a watch. You want it to look good, right? Now, this is again for me where the Fenix 6 series just shines. This looks like a nice watch, especially if you're a man. It's something that you want to wear. It looks good. It doesn't look like a smart watch. Whereas the Ionic, it just doesn't quite have that look. Yeah, I don't know. It's sort of more like this is a solid watch. This is more flimsy. I can tell you which one I want to wear. Fitbit Ionic, Garmin Fenix 6 Pro. Which one should you buy? Well, this is a lot more expensive, the Fenix 6 Pro. The Fitbit Ionic is going to be about half the price. Now, I'm going to say spend the extra money and buy the Fenix 6 Pro if you need the extra features, or if you just want a watch that looks good. If you can afford it, the Fenix 6 Pro all day long. You will not regret it. Fitbit Ionic, I'm going to say at the lower level for people who are very casual, maybe don't, someone who likes a bit of a lighter watch, still has heart rate features, has good sleep tracking, I would recommend the Garmin 100%. This is the watch. This is the Pro version, which has the maps and things, so it's a little bit more expensive. There are also ones which don't have the maps, and they're a bit cheaper. They don't have the pulse ox, but you know, to be honest, you might not use those. There it is. I hope this review might help you if you're looking to buy the Fenix 6, or you're comparing maybe between buying the two of these, or you already have an Ionic and you're thinking like, should I get the Fenix 6? I think you should. See you later, Ionic. I'm Ryan Wolf. That was my tech review, and I don't know, I feel like this has got me excited. I feel like maybe going for a run. Maybe I will.